Right, where's that gone? Where's that can gone? Oh, I can't see it. Aha. Oh, that's better. I'm going to try and brew that today. I'll show you what with. How's it going, BEERSMITHs? I'm going to try and brew this today. Not my recipe, using Gash's recipe from Cellar Dwellers. So we don't need this. But we will need this. And we'll also need this. So that's what we'll use today. Oh, this one's a lot heavier than that one. Oh.
I filled up my kegel with 34.7 litres of water and I added 2 Camden tablets. Got the temp up to 67.7 degrees C, where I started to mash in. The grain bill will be different to your system, but I'll give you what I used along with the percentage so you can adapt it to suit your system. I used 3.93 kilograms of Gladfield Larger Light Malt, that was 55% of the grain bill, 2.86 kilograms of Gladfield Wheat Malt, which was 40% of the grain bill, and 360 grams of Flaked Oats, which was 5% of the grain bill. You probably noticed that I did add 250 grams of rice hulls at the start. This is to help with the mash and the liquid flow while I batch sparged, and also to help get more of those sugars out when I squeeze the bag at the end of mashing in. The grains were added in 2 to 3 goes, stirring them through each time to ensure good coverage and break up those dough balls. Once they were all in, I stirred for a good while just to be sure. I chucked the lid on with the blanket on top to keep my mash at 67.7 degrees C and put my BEERSMITH timer on for 75 minutes. I always go back a few times while mashing in to stir the grains and check for constant temperature. If it's under temp, I'll put the element on for a couple of minutes. I had time to set the yeast rehydrating. Gash from Cellar Dwellers recommends in his recipe using the Nottingham ale yeast from LALLEMAND. It only needs 15 minutes to rehydrate as per the packet recommendations, but I just put it in an Erlenmeyer flask on my stir plate with a stir bar and attached an airlock. Right, back to the mash. After a 7-minute rise and hold at 75.6 degrees C for 10 minutes, it was time for the bag raising. No chance to use my crappy Jedi powers here, I had to go hands-on. Wort was smelling amazing. Now the sparge arm had to go, so that was unattached, making sure first that the pump was turned off along with the main tap. This bag is bloody heavy and it's friggin' hot, so my fancy as high temperature rubber gloves were donned for the raising, squeezing and general handling. The wet grains are still holding quite a bit of the sugary goodness, so make sure it's not wasted. I find the old shelf from my fermenting fridge is a great addition in this process. not a light filler, so it's my weight along with the grain weight it's putting up with. That's all put aside to deal with later. Now I remove the false bottom so it doesn't interfere with the flow, boil and the whirlpooling. Speaking of which, time to attach that arm and get the pump back on. I've removed the element power from the temp controller and plugged it into the power direct so I can crank up the element temp and get to the boil. Post mash, specific gravity was sitting at 1.055. BEERSMITH was expecting 1.060. The estimated pre-boil volume was 28 litres. I was sitting at 33 litres. This could explain why I was 5 gravity points lower. This is 45 grams of Summer Saaz that I'll be adding to the boil at 60 minutes. The hops will go in a mesh bag that's been weighed down by a spare stainless steel tap fitting. Time for an imperial coffee break. I'm boiling for a while yet, so I've got some time to get my hop FLAMEOUT additions ready. Hop 1 is 60 grams of CITRA to be added after FLAMEOUT for a 15-minute steep at 80 degrees C. Hop 2 is 60 grams of Mosaic to be added 5 minutes later for a 10-minute steep at 80 degrees C. At my 15 minutes to go, I've added my immersion chiller to sterilise in the boil, along with a Werflock tablet to clump up those pesky proteins. After the boil, everything is now susceptible to infection, so sanitise everything that comes close to your wort. I've sanitised this bag in some marbles to weigh it down so I can hang it in the wort for the steep. I remove the previous hop bag and, this is where I stuff up, and add both hops for the 15-minute steep. Damn it. Oh well. The steep at 80 degrees C completed and the immersion chiller was started. After the boil, specific gravity was sitting at 1.062. BEERSMITH was expecting 1.070. In the end, I was to expect 6.9 to 6.8% ABV. Estimated post-boil volume was 29 litres. I was sitting at 28 litres. I was down to pitching temperature within 10 minutes. I removed the chiller and I just left the bag in as I was fiddling with the camera settings. Whirlpool went for just under an hour, which gave me the time to get all the fermenter and transfer gear ready and sanitised. I stopped the pump and removed the Whirlpool arm and attached the transfer hose to the pump and the other end into the fermenter. I left the aerating wand in there to use at the next step. Now I actually got 24 litres out of this in the end. Probably could have grabbed another litre and a half, but I just didn't want to risk getting any more trube in the fermenter. The whirlpooling had done a great job though. I attached the aeration wand to the pump and started it to give those little yeasties a happy place to work in. The yeast I used, the one that Gash from Cellar Dwellers recommends in his recipe, was the Nottingham ale yeast from LALLEMAND that I started rehydrating earlier on in the day. Seal this sucker up and lob it in the fermenting fridge with a topped up airlock. Righto, that's in the fermenter now. It was a lot easier to brew this time than the first time I did it, which is almost a year ago. I didn't have the sparge arm or the whirlpool arm. And I didn't have the bag set up that I had, or that I have now. I also used some rice hulls. I didn't have rice hulls last time, so it drained a lot better. And look, on paper, well, in BEERSMITH, it looks like I've got 80% efficiency in my brew. I don't believe that. I don't know how, but yeah, that's pretty good. Today I ended up around about the original gravity was 10.61. I'm hoping that because I whirlpool properly that I'll end up with less trub going into the fermenter, so I won't get any of that grassy horrible stuff. Yeah, so it was a way nicer brew day, as big as it is, but yeah, it was good. I didn't do any water chemistry at all today. I just didn't have anything with me, and I'm not really well set up for it. So apologies to all those water chemistry freaks out there. I just didn't get a chance to do it. Should be 11 days, I think, from last time. It might be shorter. I rehydrated the yeast this time. I didn't bother making a yeast starter. I pretty much did it the same as last time. Yep, 3 days later, specific gravity was down to 1.014. A day earlier on my schedule, so bugger it. Time to dry hop. I measured out 50 grams of CITRA and 50 grams of Nelson Sauvin. So drop that hoppy goodness into the sock and then a sanitised ping pong ball. Tie a knot in the top and you're ready to go. 4 days later, specific gravity was at 1.010, a 6.9% brew. So I added another hop sock, repeating the process with the same hop amounts and let it sit for 3 days. This last hop addition will give you that aroma that smacks you in the face as that beer glass comes up near your schnoz. Cold crash for 3 days and bottle keg using my usual process, trying to reduce the amount of time left out in the oxygen so I don't lose that lovely aroma. Thanks for watching, if you have watched, and yeah, I'll try and do as much as I can, but again, this has been done before. I just thought it'd be a bit of fun, just doing some effects and just being a general dickhead. So yeah, anyway, thanks. If you have made it this far, that's awesome. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.